Hey YouTube, welcome to another Valkyrie Connect podcast. My name is Hakeo and I have with me Luzeldon. Today we're going to be going over a few topics. Primarily we'll be going over how stats affects each unit that you orb as well as gear out and how it is important to understand how each stats work. And we'll be going over the thought process of how Luzeldon makes his arena team as well as his connect teams. And then lastly we'll just go over the collaboration and what both of us have been up to. So Luzeldon, if you want to start out, how are stats important and how is it advantageous to understand how they work in the game?
Right. Stats are important because it's basically how your hero works in the game, how you damage, how turn works, how everything works. And it is especially important for someone who don't use the optimal stuff like optimal heroes and gears, because you need to min-max everything you can when you work with such group of heroes and equipments.
So essentially it's pretty much if you don't understand how speed works, how attack works, or defense works, how are you going to build the correct team and how are you going to synergize, especially as a newer or more free-to-play player and you don't own the high-end units or high-end gear, right?
Yes, and those who do not wish to use high-end, do not wish or do not have access to high-end gears and units.
Like you?
Like me. Like I need to scrape up all the advantages I can because otherwise I won't be able to stay relevant.
Yeah, that's understandable. I think that's where your creativity comes from, though, and that is what piques my interest, is because you always come up with all of these weird setups, and most people would just look at it and wonder how that setup even works. And that creativity comes from your limited resources, essentially, right?
And mostly because I just want to use what I want. Most people would refer to it as waifus and something similar, but for me it's dogs and dragons, and I don't think I could call it waifus.
Yeah, for those people who min and max like myself, we call you weird. You know that, right?
Right.
Yeah, but so let's start with your arena team and how did you come up with your current arena team, and what was your thought process on everything that you've from the gear that you chose to the units that you chose, and what's your end goal with your team in general?
I basically pick my heroes first and see what I can work with them. Like I just said, I only use heroes I like, right? So from the pool of all the heroes I like, I see which of them can do what and how I could use them together. For example, my current arena team is a mage snipe centered around Beast team. Because how the meta works, most races are already disabled by something in the arena. So one of the only safe races left are beasts, and I like dogs and dragons in particular. So currently I run both Ragnarok and Hadron, and as my team's already halfway through Dark Wound, I like Ayame, so I include her.
Okay, it's just pretty much what you feel like.
What I feel like.
Yeah, what you feel like running. It's understandable.
And from that, I find a viable setup from all of them, and that's where the mage snipe come in. Because most heroes on my team hit mages, and they are particularly effective at it, so I have to push it all the way through.
Okay, and the with your current team, do you offensively and defensively? Currently your Ragnarok with the Hadron and Ayame, that's on your defense team, right?
Yes, and personally, unless I find something really hard to fight with my current team, I don't swap that much. I swap from time to time. Like when there are 3 melees, I use Fenrir. When there are Matisse, I use less attack-centric team and stuff, but melee, I don't switch a lot.
Okay. So pretty much there's only small variations depending on the situation that you're presented.
Yes.
Okay.
There always are variations because how the arena works. But yes, I mainly use the same team.
Okay. And going back to the stats, going to physical attack and magic attack, I know it sounds really basic, but there are some players, especially newer ones, and if this is their first gacha game, they don't understand how to equip whether this unit uses magic attack or physical attack, and it comes down to understanding how stats work, right? You look at their ability. If it's a physical ability, that's what you stack. If it's a magic ability, that's what you stack. And if the unit has both, you'll see which one is more favored naturally on that unit. So you look at the base stats.
Many new players don't even understand how skills work. We need to get into that too.
Yeah. So we'll start with stats, and then we'll move into the skill itself. And
Right.
with how do you believe the calculations for damage work? Is it the comparison between physical attack towards physical defense with evasion applied as well, and then resistance, or what is your theory on that? I know we're still working on it, but what's your current theory?
It's a work in progress, but I believe it's offensive stats square divided by defense multiplied by resistance. And we even today, when we pretty much established that the middle line is the neutral resistance, we still are not quite sure if the maximum of the gauge and the minimum is exactly 200 or 0% or not, because nobody ever gathered data in bulk. So
correct. Yeah, there has to be a bulk sample size. And if you're looking at neutral resistance, so essentially what you're saying is if 200 or 0, which one is the actual neutral damage, right? Is what you're saying?
200, of course, but the middle line, it has been called many numbers because some people scale resistance from 1 to 4, some people scale from 1 to 100, and some
correct
0 to 400, or
I guess for sake of simplicity, since the grid is broken up into lines, we'll use 1 through 4, and then we can go like 1.5,
Right.
2.0, things like that. And
Yeah,
so
right.
you're saying that 2.0 is the neutrality, right?
That's what people agree on and
Correct.
what I believe.
And how would you test it? Would you use a neutral damaging unit in comparison to one with the same stats but elemental versus a unit with a 2.0 resistance? Or how would you test that?
Well, for neutral resistance, it's obviously we use normal attack because it's neutral for most heroes. And
Correct.
now that awakening is a thing, it is way easier to test elemental resistance compared to neutral, because we can normal attack with elements now.
Yes. And with that, how do you think evasion plays? Is it part of how the damage is applied, where once you find the damage, is it a chance that the unit will miss, or do you think that evasion calculations are applied before damage?
Well, since dodge exists, it is pretty safe to assume that evasion exists. Evasion works in the way that will allow you to dodge.
Okay.
Right. And with the way scenarios work, where everything has like through the roof stats, you miss a lot, so it's quite apparent it matters, but we just don't know how much.
Yeah, and that's actually something I wanted to dive deeper into, was at what point is evasion worthwhile. So you have, for example, Awaken Mirka, right? You can give her a Guardian Turban, Miku Key Strap with the Therian Bangle, and that sets her with the Guardian Turban proc. It should set her around 55%, I believe, or is it 60% evasion? And I want to know how impactful that is compared to replacing those evasion items with more defensive magic defense HP items.
And HP, right?
Yeah, so which one outweighs the other? Because when you do use evasion items, you do lose HP. And is it worth the
Except Guardian Turban.
What was that?
Except Guardian Turban.
Guardian Turban is so good.
Yeah.
For players who don't have it, look into Guardian Turban. It's the Connect Battle Maged, or people say Medjed, the blanket Halloween looking Connect. Do her Connect Battle, 5-star that Guardian Turban. And with that, and another stat that actually comes up more commonly is speed, right? And
Right.
a lot of players, they always ask the same basic question, so I guess we'll answer it here, is how is speed affecting the unit? So they believe, they don't know if it's animation, does the skill gauge increase, or obviously the more common knowledge on it is that it reduces the amount of time in between attacks. And so pretty much,
Right.
yeah, speed would be the reduction in between attacks. So going from attack 1 to attack 2 is reduced. And also with increased speed, the animation is also reduced. You see this in multiple units. If you stack speed on them, they'll produce their animations way faster and complete them way faster. And the other effect from speed is that skill gauge increases faster as well. So secondary to being able to activate your abilities more, your limit burst also fills quicker because you're filling your skill gauge quicker. And
Right.
so is there anything I left out, Luzeldon?
It also makes as it makes turns go faster, it also helps you like get rid of status effects faster, which
Correct.
would be my approach to Ragnarok. We'll talk about in a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Right.
that's actually one of the more attractive things with speed on Alice, right? Because she quicks herself, and when she gives herself quick, she cycles through her items quicker, which makes her amazing for utility, even if you give her physical attack items.
Which is what most people do right now.
Correct. You toss some, Nordicia shield on her. You put champion shield on her. You can put the Christmas bow, the wreath bow, Edor bow,
And
Necromi gun, her XSP, costume, everything.
her SP also quick herself, so
Yes.
that's
Correct. Yeah. She's just a quick machine pretty much, and I think that is something that as a newer player you should understand, that not all units are about DPS. Sometimes having a unit purely for utility, they may do the lowest damage on your team, but they're also the reason why your team is doing more damage or doing more consistent damage.
right.
And talking about your, I guess, weird setups, especially for the arena, how did you come up with your Urdless team on Ragnarok?
When I start doing Ragnarok, I use the usual setup like Earth, Odin, and stuff like what people use, and it's too stressful on me. Like everything needs to be precise. 1 second mistiming could mean like an entire run gone. So I try to find an easier setup, and as I play, Eclipse Field is a status effect. So like we just mentioned earlier, if you are faster, it's gone faster. And as we all know that not we all, I guess, as we know that Ragnarok apply his Eclipse in a specific order. If we can get rid of the Eclipse field before Ragnarok reapplied his field, man, that's a mouthful.
So for those who don't know, when your unit or target, when the target is debuffed, whether it's through a CC or a stat down, that stat down, the X amount of turns that it's persistent, so it says 3 for 2 turns for 3 turns, that's based
Right.
on the target's turns, not
On
the
the
unit. Correct, not the unit that activated the CC. So if you use a Valhalla sword on a target like Luca, it's dependent on Luca's turns. So if Luca has high speed, she will theoretically get rid of it. Well, not theoretically, she will get rid of it quicker than a Luca with lower speed.
Right. And back to the point, like if we can get rid of it faster, it's gone faster, and we can function as if we
Correct.
don't
Because you're
deal with
reducing
it.
the actual seconds down. Removed from
Right.
the actual CC, yeah.
So my solution is to just don't use Earth and use something that can quick your team and rely on regen hats to heal. In my case, it is a Chocolatey Noah or Valentine Noah, as people call her.
And what was your success rate on swapping out Erd and putting in Valentine's Noah?
Much more consistent because I practically only got about like 20 rack souls in the first 3 days and completed him within the 2 days that I swapped Valentine Noah in.
Oh, that's a huge difference.
That's a huge difference.
That's crazy.
I was ready to give up Ragnarok when I used Earth. Like 3 days, 20 souls. That's depressing, dude.
That's very depressing. Yeah, it doesn't help that his drop rate is so low too.
Yeah. As I complete my Ragnarok run, 18,800 tokens, which means by average, if Rag drops like 100 token per run, I did 188 runs total.
Okay, and he drops 2 souls per, meaning that it's about a 25% drop?
That was already 2 souls per run.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. And another thing is, can you tell everyone the entire team that you actually use for Ragnarok?
Sure, I plan to make a clip soon enough to demonstrate how I use my skills or how I run it specifically. But for now, I use Zodi, Norn, Awakened Scout, Awakened Odin, and Valentine Noah.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting that you use Valentine's Noah to get them out of the Eclipse debuff quicker, and
right.
That way, so Rag, you don't have to time it as I guess as specific as without her.
How you time her skill actually is different from Earth, but I'll get into that when I make the clip.
Okay. Yeah, I struggled way more. 1, because I had to be on top of every single cancel, and 2, because I didn't run a single magic unit. Yeah, I ran an all physical team.
Like first bar and third bar would be immune to a lot of things.
Yeah, first bar is really slow. It's a very slow start. Second bar I burn right through it, and the last bar I have to use the second bar to heal. If I don't, then I can't survive the third bar, and that's because I went more DPS. That's why I had to beat the time, and on average I would beat it with roughly about 20-30 seconds left. And that sounds like a lot of time, but if you make one mistake, it's done. You can't recover.
Coincidentally, Hakel, you are also one of the, I don't know if it's the only or not, but before I do Rag, Odin and Earth's usage was 100%. So we could safely assume that everyone uses hers and him. So
yeah,
you don't use Odin too.
Correct. I do not use Odin. I don't own Odin. Right. That's the sad thing.
Right.
Oh man, the sad life. I've actually been attempting him since Ragnarok released. When I actually found out he was released in JP, I pushed for Odin even more during each star party, but I've yet to get him. It's okay. I mean, it's good. What was that?
I never naturally roll any star party exclusives. Never roll any. What I got from the free tickets from anniversary.
Oh, you're horrible. So lucky. I mean, I can't complain because I got new units during the anniversary too. I was really happy with them. And
right.
The thing is that with Ragnarok, for those who don't know, you're not required to run a magic unit because his crystals don't have a barrier for magic or physical. They're shields. So,
they simply are extremely resilient to those types of attacks.
Correct. Yeah, they're just really, really resilient. So they mitigate a lot of the damage. So if you're running a pure physical team, you have to be prepared to take a long time on those crystals that take a lot of they have a high physical resistance. It's the same thing when you do scenarios and there are those golems. The brown ones have high physical resistance. The purple ones have high magic resistance.
I believe that was changed at some point because early on in the game, I
They were
remember doing.
zero.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was at some point.
Yeah, I remember that too. I was playing during that time with the Molly scenario. I was dealing 0. It wasn't even like 1 damage. So
Yeah.
I believe it was changed because when I hit level 60, when that was a new cap, I noticed that I was able to go through the scenario without even changing out my units.
Right.
And other than that, how is your collaboration experience going? Are you enjoying this collaboration? How does it compare to the other collaborations? And what are you shooting for currently, and what do you currently have?
Well, a beast magic unit count me in. So my goal for the collab basically is that unit 13 and the Spear of Longinus, and that's pretty much it. So my goal was pretty low, but yeah, I enjoy so far. Like lots of fusion gears. I
Do you
managed
think
to.
this is the best collaboration since the other ones, or no?
I don't think so. I like the old traders more. Like the way you can get most of the stuff from the collab by grinding. But I don't know, maybe this one's benefits me more for sure. I like all the rune gears. I managed to get most of my gears to level 50 from this collab.
Wow, yeah, same here. It's funny because
Right.
I'm using this collaboration to level 50 my gear for Ultima.
Right?
Yeah, I'm ready. And that's actually a really obtainable and realistic goal, especially for a player who doesn't really spend money on the game.
Right.
You have a unit that you can farm, and the other spear, which is really powerful, you are guaranteed the item if you farm the tokens, pretty much.
Right. The Spear of Longinus, like I plan to get 3 at the beginning of the collab because it seems likely, but now that score attack is a thing, I already completed 3 by now, so I plan to get more. It's that good.
Speaking of score attack, have you been farming the light score attack in preparation for Thor and Sif Awakening?
Not at the moment. I have light tokens to spare from doing other things, but
Understood. Did you pull at
Yeah.
all during the for the Evangelion step up?
yes, I learned from Shiro that a trash pool today may be something super valuable tomorrow. Like I remember Shiro was regarded as trash pools back then. Like nobody really wanted him and wrote him all the time and
Correct.
stuff. Right now that Ragnarok exists, people look for him.
Yeah. I regret not pulling for him because at the time I thought he was garbage. Well, he was at the time. He was garbage, right? He only
Yeah.
he only increased in practicality because of
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. It's not because he as a unit is good. He's only good in that scenario.
Right.
Yeah, so I ever since that occurred where I see Shiro from the, for those who don't know, the Fate Stay Night collaboration had Shiro in it. And
Once him.
he became really good a year later. So
Yeah.
I made it a mission to actually pull for the Evangelion units. Even Shinji, Kawaru, all of them, I'm aiming to get all of them because you never know when you'll need them. And same with the race flags. Like everyone's pushing off the race flags, but they're actually really good, even in PvP. And what are your thoughts on the race flags, actually, before I say mine?
Right. Red flags definitely be useful in some connects. I plan to get 2 and sell off the rest because you never need more than 2 in a team. But yeah.
It's funny you say that. I'm trying to get 4.
Arena, right?
Yeah, it's for arena. And here is the reason. So it can be equipped to a mage as well as a range. If you run a 1-3-1 build, where it's 1 tank, 3 mage, and 1 range, if each of them have a staggered race flag, slot 1, 2, 3, and 4, theoretically, if they all proc, you can keep up the magic defense buff, but also you're getting a 40% skill gauge up to the front 3 units, which means that your tank will be able to use their ability more. And if you're using a unit such as Ragnarok, or Rita, or Frey or anybody, right? You can spam their ability more often. And
Right.
or let's just say I've seen some players, they're running Luca, Ray, 2 mages, and Alice, right? You're running 3 flags, and you're able to spam the 2 tanks abilities more often. So the flags individually, they're not useful. But when you combine them with other flags and where their stats start stacking on top of each other, it becomes exponentially better. And that's the reason why I'm pushing for 4, but who knows, right?
Not sure if that would benefit my team, but yeah.
Well,
my tank,
for you, yours is a different scenario. Yours is a different case. Under the cookie cutter, build where most players will go towards, your team is not where most players will go towards. You know that.
Of course.
Yeah. So for the team where most players will lean towards, I think is very useful. Like I said, I'm gonna try to push for 4 or 5 stars and then maybe sell off the rest. I made a mistake, and I don't know why I did it, but I 5-star Mari's costume, and I don't even own her, so I ended up selling it. I was like, why did I even do this?
I thought you'd go like mad and try to pull for Mary or something.
I got Ray, Shinji, Kawaru, and I'm not gonna pull anymore. I got what I needed. Asuka is the free one. I have the collaboration 13 Ymir. I don't need any more. The rest I need to get N2 missiles.
Aren't you interested in the gear though, like the N2 missiles and?
Yes, so what I plan on doing is I want to pull for N2 missiles. I want to get 2 ray shields, and the reason being is that I'm actually going to be the player that's running 2 tanks. And if you have a ray shield in slot 1 and the other tank has a ray shield in slot 3, I want to test out how efficient that is. And then I want to get a 5-star spear, because the spear is actually really good in Ultima when you use Asuka as the tank. And I know I only have a few days left because the next gear party is coming up.
I aim for the Valkyrie Ray box though, not because of Valkyrie Ray, but all for there are no stuff there, are there?
Yeah, there's the slow staff, right? That slows the opposing team.
That's the Asuka box. I meant the Ray box.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It would be like 4 gears that would be extremely useful to me. So I aim for that box.
Okay. Yeah, I know this is me talking with a lot of money that's necessary for it, but I would like to pull the Valk Asuka box mainly because of the slow staff that you can put on Erd, because it's for Azers and Jotun, right? And if you can AoE the entire team with slow, that's huge.
For 2 turns.
Yeah, for 2 turns, that's crazy. Imagine if you run Ragnarok, right? Slot 3 you have the slow staff, slot 1 you have Ragnarok's SP. You have exhaust into slow. Like, what are they gonna do?
Right.
And that's not including the actual abilities of the units too. You have your other mages, you have your range, you have your tank, everything. Like, what are they gonna do? I mean, everything always sounds better on paper, right? How does it really apply when there's also things coming at your team? Because they're gonna CC you too with Gamer's Cane, they're gonna CC you with N2 missiles. So who knows? And of course, for those who's listening, I know this is more of the upper end of the arena. You're most likely not gonna see this in the top 1,000 or 3,000. But as you climb, just know that it will obviously get more difficult. But you'll also start facing units and gear where you find that is unfair to face against. But also know that there are units that you own in the regular diamond pool and the mana pool that can defeat these other units. You don't need premium units to fight premium units.
And I'm not sure if I should advise other, but you can go with what you like too.
If you're creative, you gotta add that behind it. You have to be very creative, because running units that aren't necessarily considered good requires a very high knowledge of the game, and it's something that Luzeldon has, right? And that's why he's able to do all of these arena and connect battles. So just do your research, see what you can apply to the unit that you want to use, and how is that unit beneficial to you and your team.
Right. You need to make them work for you too, not just use them.
Like, I like Sigurd, but I know I'm not going to be tossing him in the arena.
Right.
I mean, he's honestly one of my favorite characters. Luca being my favorite character, but Sigurd, right? He's awesome, but I'm not going to put him against Frey. Or
could use awakening.
If this is what I plan on doing. So with the Madoka collab, I'm going to have Homura shade my way to their Anger Boda, and I have Sigurd hit them. And that's all I want to do. No, but like I said, just because you like a unit, so you do have to become creative. They're a lower tier unit, because there are units like Bertha, Holder, Sigurd, Krozak. I mean, people joke about him all the time, but
yeah, but some of them can shine in some context too. Like,
correct.
Back in the melee arena, like, Garm was my top DPS.
Yeah, I mean, if you're put in a situation where there's like the Colosseum and there's more restrictions, units that are not considered good normally may become high tier. And
everyone's complaining.
Correct. Or everyone's complaining
about Fenrir.
Oh, yeah, I know. I remember that, actually.
Yeah.
It's fine, because even units like Welver, right? He shines in Marmalade. And there are, even like you said, Garm, he shines in so many connects that are specific. But in general, they're not high tier, because high tier units are generally considered more overall useful or specifically to PvP.
Right.
And other than that, what are your thoughts of the next collaboration, the Madoka collab? Are you looking forward to it, or are you just, you know?
I look forward to it for sure, but from how I look, it seems the collaboration thing became smaller. It looks smaller, like 5 heroes, 1 hidden heroes, and that's it.
Yeah, so you think they got a little bit lazy, or what was the reason do you think that it is not as big as the other collaborations?
I'm not sure if it's going to be smaller or not, because heroes and Connect boss are not everything, right? There are gears and other things to consider too. If there's a lot of content, I'll be fine. But from how it looks, from the perspective of someone who's not playing JP, it looks considerably smaller.
One thing I hope they don't reintroduce into collaboration is the ranking system for the Connect battles. Remember from like Fate Stay Night or King of Fighters, where the only way to get this specific item is if you climbed through the Connect battle, but if you're a free-to-play player, that's so unfair.
But if the reward is not exclusive item, I think it's completely okay. If it's something that you can obtain by other method, like perhaps like gachas or traders, and you just have it there too for people who do well in that ranking thing. I think it's completely...
if you offer another avenue to obtain it, then sure, I would agree that's fine. But the way A-Team is, that's possibly unlikely. And I mean, they are a business and they want to monetize, so for them to do that, they want to make the ranking system in the collaboration more enticing to do, because if you're able to get this item from the top 50, but you're also able to get it from the trader or like from a gacha, more people will opt to go for the gacha or the trader, just because they don't have to spend all day grinding this Connect for this one item. You may end up spending more stamina. You may, because RNG is RNG, right? Some guy can spend $5 and get what you wanted, and you can spend 500 and still not get what you want.
Right.
But other than that, is there anything else you would like to add?
Well, nah, I'm at the short end. I spent quite a bet on this game, you know, and I still got little to no exclusive.
I won't say how much I have spent, but I can say most of the time they've been depressing.
Oh, right.
They've been very depressing, and I mean, I can say I think 2 of my videos that I've recorded for pulls I was actually legit happy about, and that was the Erd and Noah pull, and my most recent one where I got Ray. I think every other pull video I've done have been pretty depressing. Sadly.
There are F2Ps that got better things than me.
Yeah.
It's okay. I can work with what I have.
But yeah, this collaboration I will go all out though, just because the rarity of the item after the collaboration ends, that's what makes me want to spend money, because once a limited event ends, it's, at least so far from what we know, it's not coming back, right? Face Day Night never came back. Yeah, it's all gone. And I regret getting Saber with my tokens instead of Dress Saber's X weapon during Face Day Night.
Oh.
Because I still use Dress Saber today. I use it in PvP and PvE. And the same thing with King of Fighters. There are items that I regret not getting. And I realized that after the event ended. And obviously it's not coming back. So I'm not going to make that mistake this time around with Evangelion.
Right. This not only applies to collabs, but other exclusive events as well.
Correct. Like the Beatrice event, right? I don't know if it's going to return. It wasn't a collaboration event, but it also wasn't a scenario event. So I don't know if it will return or not. So I did my best to always top 1 or 2 in the arena to be able to try to pull for her. And on the last day, using my last diamonds that I had, I got her.
Lucky you.
Yeah. Thankfully, I spent 0 money like during that entire event. Besides the monthly stamina and stuff, but you know, it's I'm talking about specifically for Beatrix.
Right, and Gambler Canes from that exact event too.
I have enough to make 9 5-star Gambler Canes. Yeah. But other than that, do you have anything else to add before we close it up?
Right, that's it, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you as always for waking up very early in your time zone to do this with me, and coordinating it. Yeah, coordinating it with me. So, and if you like this video, please like the video. If you like this type of content, please subscribe. And I also have guide videos as well as pull videos if you would like to check that out as well. And if you aren't already involved in the Valkyrie Connect community, I'll provide a link to the Reddit as well as the Discord below. If you aren't already following me on Twitter and you want to see what's happening on the Japanese side client, I'll link my Twitter below as well. And until next time, guys, take care.
Don't tell me our youth is running out. It's only just begun. Don't tell me our youth is running out. It's only just begun. Don't tell me